Well, this is Jens. Jens, he was a wholehearted biology teacher, but also a gardener. And he really loved to see children blossom and grow. But in the age of 58, he had dementia. He was diagnosed with Alzheimer's. Through 18 years, his body and his brain deteriorated. He started to change. His life changed. All changed. And within the family, they had difficulties as well because they started to see how they lost their dad. Now millions of families all around the globe, they share same losses, same concerns as Jens, I imagine. But here in Denmark, we are approximately, right now, we are 89,000 persons living with dementia. And around 400 family members are also living beside a person with a dementia. But as these numbers, they will grow dramatically worldwide. We can see that millions of families worldwide, they will need guidance in how to be together with persons with dementia if we want this to become a good journey. But here's a crucial information. Many family members, they rarely attend many dementia courses. They often end up using the learning by doing method. I think we all know that. Some will succeed and help their loved one to blossom, but many won't. And of course they won't, because if you don't know what you take part in, how could you then actually make a person blossom? But worst case is that family members as well start accelerating more ill-being and also more progression of the disease. And that's quite a paradox when you really want to help your loved ones. I met a family. I met Jens's family at a dementia presentation I gave back in 2011. He was 10 years into his disease at that time, and I saw the whole family sitting there in the room. And after that evening, where I spoke about metaphorical work with dementia, the son Thomas, he came and asked me, please, Vibeke, could you be our support? Could you become our guide in our family? And it turned into 8 years, joint adventure, and a very, very strong friendship. You could say I became the dementia supervisor or the metaphorical dementia supervisor. And Jens, he became our teacher. He was a teacher, now he became again. But he also became a hero of mine. But let me present to you a little bit of the metaphorical framework that I have used many years to create, and together with Jens and his family has spent and developed. Now, here you see 2 brain scans. When families come to the hospital and their loved one are having the diagnosis, they will often be presented to a picture like this. But many of us, we are not able to read this, and family not either. So what I did was I started to figure out, could I translate these pictures into some well-known pictures? So let's see what happens when we translate them into 2 different, very well-known images for all of us. Here you have the Earth and you have the Moon. The Earth is a metaphor for the healthy brain. And the Moon, of course, is a metaphor for a brain with severe Alzheimer's or one kind of dementia. If we then add a new metaphor, because there's years in between the 2 brains, if we add years, we could call that a journey. Now we have a new sentence, and we can talk about dementia as a journey from the Earth to the Moon. Dementia is a journey from the Earth to the Moon. It's a continued part of a life journey, but it's now on very difficult travel conditions. It's a journey from a very well-known life to a very unfamiliar life, a radical different life. If we then add another sentence, it could be the word VIP, very important person. We will now have dementia is a journey from the Earth to the moon for very important persons. If we become very important persons, persons with dementia becoming very important persons, we will see that they have needs and demands. And when you are VIP, these demands should become the main priority for the crew. I presented my metaphorical fantasy world for Thomas, the son of Jens's, one of the sons of Jens's. And I recall one day that I was going to tell him about dementia in a new way, in this metaphorical way, and I said something like this. Well, your father, he's got a one-way ticket. He's got a one-way ticket to the moon, Thomas, the day he was diagnosed. That day he became a moon traveler. He became an explorer. And he became an astronaut. That day he was diagnosed. And he was sent on a dangerous mission to lead and train you as a family and all the traveler followers to explore new dimensions of space, inner space. He will now start to send important information to all of us, to all of you as a family, back to planet Earth. And he'll tell about the journey. He'll try to communicate. He'll try to teach you how to communicate and stay in contact all the way to the moon. If you're connected, Thomas. But let me give another part of a conversation I had with Thomas. We were in the kitchen a day and I was going to tell him about what's actually going on in the brain. And it's difficult to understand for almost all of us. So I said to him, the further away your dad gets from the well-known Earth, the more of his brain and inner navigation equipment will be deleted. Word and phrases, behavior will start to change. But the words and phrases will mutate. But he'll start to become inventive, your father. He will start to find new words. He'll replace the words with new words. He'll start to have a personal coded language. You could call that a moon language. And when you have the moon language, it could sound like this doesn't mean anything. But then you have to listen to the psychological depths. You have to learn to translate the moon language. And you have to train to adopt this language if you want to stay connected. That day, both Thomas and I, we suddenly found out that his father, he had a very fine sentence. It was like la la la. Everyone knows the la la la. But for Jens, it meant, sometimes it could sound like this. La 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 la. And it meant, I'm happy and fulfilled. Other days, he would say, la 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 la. And it meant, I am scared. I'm really afraid. Please help me. During years, Thomas and I, and that's 8 years we're talking about. During the years, Thomas and I, we started to invent new words. And Thomas, he's a master in words. So he opened up a whole new area, and together we were just elaborating what could that be if we go into the story. So we started to a one-way ticket to the moon, and a return ticket to the moon, and a stewardess, and a hero, and a crew, and a travel documents, and so forth. We know we've all traveled. Many times over years, Thomas and I, and his family, and the crew who became a part of the journey with Jens, we traveled into his reality. We learned to travel in his time, space-time. We learned to go into new dimensions of reality, where everything was upside down. And we connected to him through the moon language and through playing and playfulness. And that make a huge difference when it comes to see another person blossom. Another crucial information is about our language. Now, when families come to meet doctors and healthcare system, they will be presented for a certain language. And it's a language that families often at the end adopting. It's a terminology and a narratives that is used for professionals and healthcare system, but it's not based for families to live life upon. So the person diagnosed can easily end up becoming a patient in the family when we take the same language and bring it into the family. Because it's kind of like glasses you bring on. Then it's difficult to see a brave family member who's really struggling to continue to live a good life. So do families come to treat their loved ones as a patient, a demented, a person with dementia, or a moon traveler, or a brave astronaut on a mission? The good news is that if we help families in new ways, we can actually help them to make their loved one blossoms. But we need to bring in new communication methods. If we bring old communication methods into play in the field, we can create new learning methods. We can create dementia life language. For thousands of years, mankind have spoken in words. We've used stories, we've written poems, we've made theaters, and we've used songs. And this has been used to pass on important information, crucial information, values, ideas, to both family and society. And I've used all these powerful tools, all of them, for 15 years in the field of dementia in Denmark. Many, many thousand persons have gained from that work. If we use these words, we can actually activate a kind of gateway for the families, but also for the caregivers and me as well. A gateway that opens for supportive stories and imagination, a new language. Wouldn't it be more uplifting for all of us if our loved one were described as a brave moon traveler, maybe even a strong astronaut sent on a dangerous mission, rather than a patient or a demented, slowly disappearing? If we could really understand the depths and the range of this potential at a global level, we could move mountains. We could have families all over the world, because we talk in pictures and stories, all of us, and we've seen the moon and the earth. So we have a key here, and the key we can use to activate all our power tools, family power tools. Power tools as imagination, intuition, creativity, playfulness, empathy and compassion, and love. Families more intuitively start to understand both the dementia disease, they start to understand dementia experience, and they know now what's better or worse just because they know a new story. That changes everything. They become visionary, the families. They become brave and inventive, just like in Jens's family. And this is the whole point. So now I have to ask us, do we dare? Do we dare to bring on a new language into the dementia field? A next level of public learning through metaphors. Jens passed away 5 months ago, and the family, they made his funeral a tribute to a very brave dementia teacher, but also a moon traveler and a brave astronaut, who taught all of them and all of us about new dimensions of the journey to the moon. He was honored and celebrated as a true hero. And 14 years into his disease, when he had almost lost all his language and his ability to walk, and he was fighting for his life, then he suddenly said out in the blue, "Believe in me. I believe in me. I believe in you." So now it's time for us, all of us. We are all family members. We could all have dementia or live beside a person. It's up to us at planet Earth to be brave. So let's make metaphors become our game changer. Let's shoot for the moon. Thank you.